All right, we are live. Pool boy does not have power, but he's still here. So I might be sending out links, or I might finish it by myself if anything goes crazy, if the laptop dies or anything like that. Hopefully not. We are here to review Hiller's video. No, it's actually funny. His clickbait, I feel like it's okay because what's up, everybody? What's up, Bruce, Kenneth, Zach? I feel like the clickbait with Hiller, like I wasn't really that offended by it because he always makes sure to still. Did you catch it yet or no?
I did.
Okay, because he always still talks about the topic. It's not total clickbait, and here's the thing: if somebody clickbaits me and I'm not entertained by your video, then I'm going to be pissed. If you clickbait me, but I watch your video and I still like it, then it's okay. That's how I feel. Did you feel clickbaited?
No, not really. I mean, it is technically Josh's TRT protocol, right?
There you go. All right, let's get after it.
Notice those ones. My TRT protocol is
all right, Liver King. Yo, all right, Josh, we meet again. I believe the last time that we spoke, or you spoke of me, you referred to me as Bat Boy.
I love when I see the bat symbols on any of my.
Oh well,
I love it because it's funny because like people think I give a.
Oh well,
it's like, hey, oh, call the Bat Boy. Yeah, give him a call.
And recently, you talked about your TRT protocol.
If anybody knows in the comments, or if you know, I was actually ashamed that I don't know this Hiller history, but that was Savon's old podcast, so that's quite some time ago. I would have thought the last time he talked about him was that. Yes, I am guaranteeing entertainment. I thought the last time, remember Coffee Pods and Wads when Josh Bridges was just like ripping into him? That was like in the last year. So you will not be. But you know what, Augustus? That's what makes you loyal. Even without entertainment, you are here. I don't know. So I don't know the whole story. I asked in a text chat that I'm in with a few people what happened there. And apparently there were some no reps called out by Hiller somewhere along the way is what I heard. And that's how the whole Josh Bridges thing started. All right, let's do it.
TRT protocol is, as everybody knows, I have been on TRT. I've been using California hormones, and I've been doing so for about 2 years at this point. I'm currently using 100 milligrams of testosterone per week. I was using as much as 200 milligrams of testosterone a week. That's going to be something interesting to talk about later on in the video. But before we get there, I came across another one of Josh's videos. He talks about his 6 go-to movements and his 6 favorite CrossFit movements. I figured it would be a pretty good appetizer to go through those things, seeing as Josh Bridges is the be-all, end-all, know-all Circuit Day CrossFitter 2013-14, and I'd like to allow him to build himself some street cred before we get into his testosterone protocol. Let's go.
These are my 6 movements that if I only got to pick 6 movements, these would be them.
He does say if I only had to, not if you only had to. That's a pretty important distinction. So what would Josh do?
I think everyone thinks I'm going to say back squat, but what I'm going to say is I'm going to go front squat.
Front squat's good. I got no problem with the front squat.
I feel like if we're talking about CrossFit, I would pick front squat, but it doesn't seem like we're talking about CrossFit. It seems like we're saying if you only get this many movements, this is what you get. This is all you get. What would you pick?
I think that first list that he lists off, right, are movements that he feel are most important. That's kind of what I got out of it, because then afterwards he talks about movements that he would like.
Okay, so are you sure it wasn't the opposite order? Well, we'll find out. Let me double check that.
That's a pretty important distinction. So what would Josh do?
I think everyone thinks I'm going to say back squat, but what I'm going to say is I'm going to go front squat.
Front squat's good. I got no problem with.
So this is his go-to movements.
Yeah, and then afterwards he talks about his favorite movements.
Okay.
Perfect. The front squat. The issue with this list is, I don't know if this is his most important, if he's going 6 to 1 or 1 to 6. Now, Josh is a former Navy SEAL, former CrossFit Games competitor, and now he's making YouTube videos. Here's a note for you, Josh. If you're making a list, always start with the least important and end with the most important.
Idiot. Number 2 is going to be a standard deadlift.
As opposed to a sumo deadlift. So far on the lower body, we have a squat, we have a hinge. I like those things. So far, so good, Josh.
Number 3, I think everyone knows it's coming. Maybe you don't, I don't know, but a devil press.
Keeps on talking to him.
That was so random for me. It's like, what? I tried to go through this list in my head, and that was weird.
It's a little odd, but yeah. I get it.
It's a great movement.
It's a full body movement, right? You get a hinge, you get a press.
You could do a wad of those. Like if you mix in, if you only have 6 movements and you mix in a couple of those, you could obviously get a great Metcon or whatever. By adding those in, you're going to get chest, you're going to get overhead, and it's going to it's gonna jack you up after doing it over and over with depending on the weight, you know. So I get why he likes it. I'm just not sure I would pick that. Josh loves devil's press.
Everybody. I think you think I'm going to say a back squat. I think you know what's coming, but it's a devil's press. A devil's press, Josh? I just gave you props for saying that you're doing a lower body squat and then a lower body hinge, and then you throw in the freaking devil's press. If you go watch the entire video, he even goes as far to say that you can turn this into like a squat clean thruster.
Because then you could even throw a squat in there and turn it into like a squat clean thruster, you know, devil press.
I've never really seen a devil's press done as a squat clean thruster. I've seen them done as a clean and jerk, you know, where you do that burpee and do a clean and jerk where the dumbbells are a little bit heavier. Also, Josh's movement at this point is just kind of terrible. Can't lock out that elbow. I think he had some sort of an elbow injury. And I believe I have more on that for you in a second.
I think a pull-up is a huge thing that a movement that I would definitely recommend to everyone.
I love me a pull-up. What I noticed as Josh was doing these is that I think him and I had a similar elbow injury. And I think having been a SEAL, I think he probably did a buttload of pull-ups at that point as well. And I think if you overdo the pull-ups, especially with a palms away grip the way that you should be doing a pull-up and not a chin-up, I think it might lead to a little bit of an imbalance, causing something like the elbow injury that this dude had. Same one that I had.
And in the end, I chose dip.
Choosing dip. Now this would be a bar dip. You know, the horns. For anybody out there who thinks that a dip is done on a bench where you just kind of put your arms behind you, that is absolutely not a dip. That was a big pandemic move. Everybody gets a chair and they're doing dips on the back of their chair. It's like, no, that's not how it works. That's actually probably terrible for your shoulders as well.
And I think this might be a little shocking to most, but it's going to be a dumbbell snatch.
Josh has to have used the word posterior at least a dozen times in his video.
Posterior chain or posterior chain. And we're going to hit posterior chain. We're going to hit our posterior chain. Your posterior chain. It's going to hit your posterior chain. Posterior chain.
He likes a nice backside. But we got a deadlift, we have a devil's press, and we have a dumbbell snatch. When he's demoing the devil's press, he shows you doing it with one arm, which is essentially a burpee dumbbell snatch. Now, he did say those are the things that he would do, but in my opinion, I think that he's missing out on some things if they're things that he had to do. What is he missing out on? Like a unilateral lower body movement, like a lunge. What else? Anything that has to do with conditioning. I mean, you can turn all of this into a conditioning session, regardless of what Sporty Beth wants you to believe. You can do conditioning and cardio stuff.
All right. I want to know in the chat too, anybody who's in there, what we're forgetting here. Let's figure this out just real quick. What are your go-to movements? Whether you thought about it or whether it's on the spot. I just wrote a list down. I don't even have it in front of me. I was just curious what mine would be.
Define like go-to, like movements that you think are like important, or like movements that you like. Like, are we going by?
So this is personal to you. This is your go-to. Like, you get 6 movements. What are you doing? Like, this is what you get. Zach's
like
running.
What I feel are like most important.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but you got to figure if these are the movements you get for the rest of your life, you might want to throw in something that you like too. But
well, I don't know. I'm just going off of like because the next list are movements that Josh likes. Like afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. Then let's go with the most important. If you could only have 6.
If I could only have 6, I would back squat.
Okay.
Thruster.
Okay.
Pull up.
Yep.
Run.
I agree with the squat, run, pull up. Yes.
I would probably add lunging.
I hate lunging, but it is good.
I get one.
I would do bench press for sure. I had that in my list. Or something that's. Did you have shoulders in there? Something chest or shoulders?
That's why I included the thruster.
Okay.
Frick, man, this last one's hard. Probably push up.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I'm picking. That's funny that he brought this up. I want the barbell bench, but if I'm only getting 6, I'm choosing the dumbbell press for me. Running for sure. I agreed with most of that. Thruster, I didn't consider because I hate him so much, but man, it's like a must-have to add that metabolic conditioning in there. And then also you can do heavyweight, you can do lightweight. It's very versatile. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and you get the squat and the press all in one. You're front loading the bar.
Thruster, kettlebell swing. Kettlebell swing's a pretty versatile movement, and sandbag clean. I would not pick that, but can get tough. All right, let's keep going.
With these movements, just do more of them and don't go as heavy. But I mean, it's pretty good. But the big thing missing is that sort of a lunge, maybe like a pistol. I know people hate pistols and they're terrible for your knees. Is that what you think? Not everybody can do them, but like a single leg box step up would have even sufficed. Then he goes into his favorites.
So for me, for my favorite movements, not just my 6 if I had for overall fitness, back squatting.
Now, when he said if he had to do it, he would do a front squat. And if he wanted to do it, it would be a back squat. I would actually say that the back squat is something that maybe you could have interchanged with the things that you had to do. It allows you to go a little bit heavier. You can keep that same upright position on a back squat that he talks about in the front squat just because it's in a back rack doesn't mean that you have to bend over when you're doing the back squat. Sure, it makes it easier to, and you can even shelve that thing a little bit lower down your back, increasing the hip angle, but you can also put it really high up on your back and force yourself rather upright. I think that's a Mark Ripito thing. Good old Mark Ripito and Tanner Shuck. Like if you're doing a high bar back squat, it should be the same position as a front squat, which is why he's a big guy with the low bar back squat.
Power cleans or squat cleans, actually any sort of clean, really. I love cleans.
Another posterior movement, no surprise there.
Muscle ups.
Okay, I'm on the muscle up train.
Bench press, definitely. I love bench pressing. Bench pressing was like my first love as a kid.
Yeah, same. Bench press was my first love too. It's like every dude's first love. You have muscle ups and bench press, and all of a sudden we're all buddy. It's like high five. Josh Bridges, you and I, we can go work out together.
Row climbs is another one. I really love it.
What, are you making this video for me? Freaking rope climbs? Are you kidding me?
I like dumbbell snatches more than barbell snatches.
Freaking dumbbell snatches, bro? I feel like Tanner Shuck with that bro. Take that bro back. No bro. But now it makes sense why you put that into your other list. Had to do things, you'd have dumbbell snatches, and you also want to do dumbbell snatches. Hard work pays off. No, that's not him. Pay the dumbbell snatch man.
Tell me if you think I missed anything. Let me know your 6 favorite movements.
Oh, it's funny you.
Okay, let's go back to that list real quick.
It's funny, Josh and I probably would share a lot of similarities.
Yeah. Where the freak was it? I like that he had the muscle up in there. I would say that I would love to include it too, except I just have trouble.
Bro, but now it makes sense why you put that into your.
Is another one. I really love it.
What do you make?
Was that it? All of it?
Rope climb and dumbbell snatch.
We're all
right?
buddy. It's
Okay,
like high five. Josh Bridges, you and I, we can go work out together.
Row climbs is another.
All right. So, I keep telling Philip my phone's about to die every time he wants to call me about the sugar he sees me eating. Okay. So, what do you think about that? I don't agree with the dumbbell snatches personally, but
Yeah, but these are his favorite movements. These are his favorite movements.
Yeah.
Like,
good point. What are your favorites? What would you change from the last one?
I would not have rope climbs, and I would not necessarily have the dumbbell snatch. But my favorite, it would be the squat clean. I definitely prefer squatting versus powering. It gives me a little bit more of an advantage over the field. Ring muscle ups, 100%. I would also include the bench press. I love toe to bars, and then 100% strict handstand push-ups. Like no one can beat me in strict handstand push-ups.
That's
not
crazy.
Not even the hog, not even Colton.
Snap.
And then my sixth one, God, shit, I'd probably throw the bar muscle up in there too. I love a lot of gymnastic stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually like burpees. So some form of burpee would be in there. Deadlift, burpee, bench press, squat, back or front, probably back. Definitely muscle up, bar muscle up. My rings are all jacked because my shoulder right now. Otherwise, I would have it in there. And then I don't know what my last would be, but I do like rope climbs a lot, or at least I like the idea of them. And then I start doing them and I'm like, oh man, I forgot how bad these
deadlifts are my absolute weakest movement.
Well, you had a lot on the bar the other day. What was it? Just all 10s in your story?
No, I had just a bunch. I don't like that was really not as much as it looked. I think it was only like 430, something like that.
Okay. Got it. I was looking, I was like, damn, there's a lot.
Like, what's your 1 rep max?
I don't know, but probably 450 right now.
Yeah, see, that's my 1 rep is 460.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you most people in the chat, probably even you could pull far more than I can on a deadlift. I'm just not built.
You would beat me right now. I must be built for it because when I'm doing it, it's my best lift. So
well, Chris's comment, like say you have short arms without saying you have short arms.
Oh yeah.
It's my ratio in terms of my arm length to my femur length. Like I have to pull so much further off the ground versus someone who's probably built like Augustus.
Yeah, what is it again? It's supposed to be long arms and short femurs. Is that right or no?
Yeah, if you're a longer armed athlete,
with
the shorter femurs, you're gonna be able to pull a lot more off the floor.
Yeah,
you just don't have to pull as high.
Yeah, so my arms are longer. I have a fairly decent reach, probably like 80th or 90th percentile for my height. I'm like 72 inches or 71 inches, despite only being 5'8.5". So. How about long hog? I don't think it helps with deadlifting. Other things, maybe.
The one I really love it.
What, are you making this video for me?
My short hog helps me with my handstand push-ups.
You short guys laugh out loud. Philip, aren't you like 5'10", 5'9"? 5'10".
Rope climbs? Are you kidding me?
I like dumbbell snatches more than barbell snatches.
Freaking dumbbell snatches, bro? I feel like Tanner Shuck with that bro. Take that bro back. No bro. But now it makes sense why you put that into your other list. Had to do things, you'd have dumbbell snatches. And you also want to do dumbbell snatches. Hard work pays off. No, that's not him. Pay the him. Pay the dumbbell snatch man.
Tell me if you think I missed anything. Let me know your 6 favorite movements.
Oh, it's funny you ask. I actually have my 6 movements that I think that you should do. Now, I say you, he says I. I think that everybody should do these movements. And then I also have my favorite movements. If I had to prescribe somebody somewhere to do 6 things for the rest of their life, I would start off with the bench press. Now, he said the dip, but I would prefer somebody using a lighter barbell on the bench press using proper form and technique, whether going wide or narrow. And I'm in particular thinking about the women here because I really don't like scaling dips, whether it be on one of those horn bars or a ring dip with a band. I hate using bands. If I can avoid bands, I will avoid using bands. And if I'm giving somebody a movement and I want them to progress on their upper body horizontal pressing, I will give them a bench press. Now, I'm going barbell here, but dumbbell's okay. That's my 6th movement because remember, you want to go from 6 to 1, not 1 to 6, Josh. My 2nd is the chest to bar chin up. Remember how I was telling you that Josh's elbows are all jacked up? Well, one of the biggest things that I've implemented into my training recently is that supinated grip chin up. And not just a chin over the bar chin up, but a chest to bar chin up. The big difference between getting your
I did find that one interesting and educational because I immediately knew when I thought of doing the chest to bar chin up, you're going to get that lat action better. You know what I mean? That when you see people doing the lat pull downs and stuff like that. I don't do strict chest to bars that often. I have, but not in a while.
You noob.
I know. I should do them tomorrow.
Chin over the bar, your chest to bar is if you have a lifetime of doing pull-ups the way that he probably did as a SEAL and the way that I did when I was trying to get stronger as some just college, high school kid. You start to lose this range of motion. It gets really hard touching your chest to the bar, but you also get this crazy retraction in your back when you start pulling through here. And it also makes your regular pull-up stronger too, and it works your freaking biceps. Now that one, I guess you can use a band if you had to, because I just don't think that the ring row suffices for upper body pulling strength when you could be working towards a pull-up. Then I got the thruster because you can do them in large quantities. Cardio if you want, Sporty Beth. And then you can also load the crap out of them. Load the legs. You can use the quads. You can use the freaking butt. All of a sudden, you're also getting in a vertical press along with the horizontal press that you get from the bench press. So you're working the entirety of the shoulder as well, and not just the frontal portion of it, anterior portion of the shoulder. You got a dumbbell.
Sorry, Zach. That's great right there too, because since I can't do a kip like the same way anymore, it's more of like a swing. I feel like my right shoulder is like, it feels like it's 20% mobility. I just can't swing anymore. I'm gonna have to do more of that and start working on strict stuff so I can do them better.
Are you talking about your ring muscle up?
Yeah, I mean, people, but I keep seeing people who are high-level athletes, not everybody has a big swing. Like,
Are you sure?
not everyone. I mean, I might not be talking about games athletes, but I've seen like better athletes than myself doing a lot of ring muscle ups with a shorter swing than I'm used to. It may have been on the little shrimp ones though. I don't know if it's different on that. I've never done the short rings. Yeah, she says that every time.
You mean long straps versus shorter straps?
I've only done short straps my whole.
I mean, short straps are going to be a lot easier than the longer straps, and sure, you can probably
Really?
get away. 100%, and you can probably get away from a little bit of a more aggressive backswing with the shorter rings. But if you don't have, like, you could always tell who's going to be efficient and move well on ring muscle ups when you see their backswing. Like, are their legs long? Are they bending their knees? And how they initiate the kip, how they're coming down from the rings is also a huge indicator.
Because think about this for a second. It may look like a huge swing because your legs are bent at the knee backwards, but really, if you think about it, how big the swing is, if your legs were to go in a straight line, it's not as big of a swing. Because if you see some people with a straight leg, their legs go like all the way to parallel, like on the Superman type swing that you see. In fact, I've seen you do it. You have a big swing, right?
I have a big backswing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that. So, I mean, it is what it is. I feel like my shoulder injury is just never going away, and I'm not getting surgery. So we'll see what happens, but it sucks to not be able to swing. Okay. I'll get off my tangent, but good point, Zach. I want to do more stricts. I think it'll help regardless on ring muscle ups.
lunge. Another one that you could do for lots of reps, or you could do for lots of load, and all of a sudden you're working on your freaking butt. You ever done lunges after having not done them for a long time? Your freaking butt is going to be wrecked. A deadlift. So now on my things that you should do for the rest of your life, you have a squat pattern, a hinge pattern, and a unilateral leg lunging sort of pattern. And I also agree with what Josh said when it comes to the deadlift, that you should be able to pick things up. If you're somebody who fears the deadlift, you should probably fear life. And then Josh's biggest miss was any sort of conditioning, where it's just like straight up monostructural for whether it be the freaking rower, the runner, the skier, or anything. And I think that you should just be able to run. I think running should be something on there, not just in your typical, oh, I'm going to go run a couple of miles, but
bench press, chest to bar, chin up. So he's picking that instead of the pull up. Makes okay, that's fine. Thruster, what you said, dumbbell lunge, you said, deadlift, and running. I agree. Oh yeah, that's the exact one I saw. Are those long or short rings?
I would say these are a little bit more on the longer side in terms of the straps.
That's pretty, dude. I remember seeing that before I even knew you. It's just a good looking ring muscle up.
Oh, I love
Have
ring
you-
muscle ups.
Do you have a max ever, or you've done 20?
My PR for ring muscle ups are like 23.
That's great. That's
And
awesome.
then my 30 for time PR is like 234 or something like that.
That's fantastic. Didn't somebody nobody did when they did 30 rings in the games? Didn't somebody come to like 28 or 29 in the games? But I don't think anybody actually was able to do the 30. I saw Noah Olson, I think, do it on YouTube, but not.
I'm trying to
in the
remember.
game.
They got
Yeah.
close, and then I don't know if anyone went unbroken. I think like Frazier fell short of like one or two or something.
I
like
think
that.
28 or 29. I could be wrong.
I
know.
do remember. I don't know. Yeah, you're 100% not gonna remember this because you're a fucking noob. But there was a year back in. Do you know who Chris Spieler is? You don't know who Chris Spieler is.
No, I do.
Do you know?
I know
No, you don't. Don't lie to me. Do you know
I
who
do,
Cody?
I swear. I wouldn't lie.
Do you know? What does he look like then? What is his hair? What does his hair
Bald.
look like? Okay,
He's bald.
maybe you didn't know.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know. I don't know this guy.
Do you know who Cody Anderson is?
Yeah, I don't know him. Maybe I'd know him if I saw him.
So there was a year where Cody Anderson and Chris Spieler, both like notoriously small athletes at the games, there was an event called the Muscle Up Biathlon, where I forget the exact rep schemes of the muscle ups, but it was like, maybe it was like 18, 16, 14 or something like that. But every time you broke, you had to go for a penalty run.
Oh,
so you would do like, I think you would open up with the ring muscle ups, and then let's say you went unbroken, you would do like I don't know, a lap. But if you had to break any of the sets, you had to do a penalty lap, and those were like they were the only two athletes that went unbroken. It was pretty incredible.
Okay, now I want to know who he was in the Saban chat today too. Jesus. I wonder who that is.
It's Jesus.
That's right.
We had
a similar one that wasn't as hard. That was fun. It was for bar muscle ups. You had to do a 400 meter run anytime you broke, but I think it was 12. I think it was like, or maybe 15, 12, 9 or something like that. So like, it was interesting because it was at the point where some of us at the gym were like really close to being able to do it unbroken, but ended up having to break twice and do a 400 meter run, which changes your time entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done one like that? Workout like that?
No, I've done, there's a hero workout. Somebody in the chat could probably fill me in, but there's a hero workout where it's like your score is max pull-ups, and like you go for a max set of unbroken pull-ups, and then you would go for a 400 meter run, and then come back, max unbroken pull-ups, 400 meter run.
I've seen
something
that.
like that.
Gosh, that's brutal.
People miss sprinting, and very much like the lunge thing that I said, if you just go and do lunge for the first time, your butt's going to be wrecked. If you're somebody who doesn't sprint, number one, I recommend that you warm up quite a bit. Like really, really warm up before you go out and go on a full-out sprint. But just go into the street, pick something that's a little bit far away, something where you know that you can kind of sprint at it and like really get in there. Pump your freaking arms, drive your feet into the ground, and just do like 4 or 5 intervals of that. But I do, again, recommend you warm up a lot, or you're going to pop something. Don't pop anything. Warm up those hamstrings. We're going to wake up tomorrow, and your abs are going to be sore.
Reminds me if there's like a fantasy football video that on Instagram, they all ran a 40 for like draft order, and like 4 of the 10 dudes basically pulled their hamstring.
Yeah, dude, I can't do sprints anymore. It sucks. I've my whole life notorious, even back in high school.
Yeah.
for soft tissue injuries, whether it be my
Oh,
hamstring,
wow.
my calf, hamstring, calf, hamstring, calf.
Freak, dude.
I've always dealt with pulls and shit with my hamstring and
Dang.
calves. So I can't
That's-
really confidently just go out and
Yeah.
sprint anymore.
Makes sense. No, I mean, no reason to if you don't have to, I guess.
Getting
At
old
least not,
sucks.
at least, yeah, not a full out sprint, at least.
You're like, whoa, why are my abs sore? Well, it's because you sprinted. You were running as fast as you freaking can for the first time in your freaking life. So my top movement is running, but it's not just like running, yeah, I'm gonna go do a high rocks race. It's sprinting, because that's also running. My list is superior, Josh. Eat it. All right, we're really deep into this video, and I know that everybody's here to hear about Josh Bridges' TRT protocol, so let's do it.
My TRT protocol is eat a lot of steak.
I heard this and I was probably just as angry as you are. It doesn't get much better.
Lift heavy weights. Get in the sun.
All right, Liver King.
Stop drinking alcohol.
That one I actually am incredibly fond of. Yeah, don't drink alcohol. There's nothing good that comes from alcohol.
Stop eating sugar.
That shouldn't be controversial these days, but it is.
Sauna.
All right, Boomer.
Cold tub.
Shameless plug.
8 to 9 hours of sleep every night.
The other Brian Johnson, the dude who wants to live to 100 years old. That's his big thing. He says he doesn't drink water after noon because he's afraid that having to pee in the middle of the night is going to ruin his sleep patterns. But that said, I don't disagree. Like, sleep is very, if not the most important thing when it comes to hormone profile.
And you don't have to take TRT.
See, he keeps on swearing. Now,
He gets so pissed off, dude. Like, it would be so much better if he didn't seem bothered. He seems so bothered. It's like, calm down, dude.
Well, what's funny is when I saw Josh post this video, like I already knew that's what he was going to say. He was going to say,
Yeah.
I eat a lot of saturated fat. I get 8-9 hours of sleep. I do the sun. I do the cold plunge. Like I didn't. Maybe that's why I didn't consider it clickbait, because I already knew what he was going to say.
Yeah, I don't know how people get 9 hours of sleep. Do they all just say 8 to 9 and they really do 8? I don't.
What do you mean? You don't know how you get 9?
I can't get 9 hours. I can't sleep for
Why
9
can't
hours.
you get 9?
So if I sleep for 8 hours and I keep going, here's what happens. I will wake up no matter what at like 7 or 8. And if I keep going to 9, I feel terrible. It's probably circadian rhythm. If you're used to one thing, no, I cannot get 9.
What time do you go to bed?
11.
And you wake up at 7?
I wake up between 6 and 7. I get about 7 hours a night.
Dude, that's terrible.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably because of your. Yeah, it's probably because of your fucking. Philip Kelly's got a point. It's probably because of your fucking sugar high.
Well, last night it was.
Just kidding. Dude, I get at least 9 hours every night. I'm in bed by like 10, 11. I'll wake up at like 8 or 9.
Yeah. So here's the crazy thing is that on TRT, the biggest TRT is very subtle, but here's what you almost notice it more when you take it away. You can get away with things on TRT. TRT will not automatically make you in shape. You can be Sporty Beth and be on TRT and stay like Sporty Beth. You can get away with less sleep on TRT. I'm not saying you can't eat like crap, but you still have to get your protein. You still can't eat 7,000 calories, but you get away with certain things. Ever since getting off TRT, January or whatever, if I get like 5 or 6 hours of sleep, I'm just wrecked. And it wasn't like that before. Andrew says that he doesn't, later in the video, that he doesn't, I think he says he doesn't sleep as much on TRT, but
it's probably
and
because
the reason
your body feels like it doesn't need it. Because that's literally when you produce your fucking sex binding globulin hormones.
That's a good point.
Totally ruined that and said
that.
Butchered that. But and promote, growth hormone, testosterone, all that shit. It's when you sleep.
He'll get into this in a second. 100% can be, maybe even 90% of the time it is. He'll get into saying like, it's a last resort option. Mine,
no, I disagree. With that.
Oh, well,
Ozempic is for like, just I'm be honest, like fat people who just don't want to necessarily change their eating habits, any of that.
I was referring to the second part. The second part.
Just taking the easy road. I don't know. As men, it's inevitable. Like
that's a great point.
Testosterone goes down. Like it's inevitable.
Good point. If you look at the history, I guess I'm just more honing in on, do some people take the easy road? Sure, I guess. But here's the thing. Hiller wanted to be optimal. I believe he said in his old videos, he went from, 600 or something to 900 or 1,000. I don't know. But the point is, he wanted to be optimal. Then we've got, like, if you look at the testosterone levels, for whatever reason, chemicals in the water, pharmaceuticals, I don't know. But it is so much lower now than it was, in the 60s, 70s. And it's the most natural thing in the world if you think about it. Like, we talk about all this other stuff. Sugar is way worse than TRT. It's unnatural, right? Like, that's not how people ate. It's probably one of the reasons why testosterone's so low. But Kenneth, all I can speak to is for myself. What the doctor said, or I think the understanding was from doing opiates for a really, really long time, permanently affected my T to where it was like not just low, but super low. So that's why I was on it. And now I feel like trash again.
I mean, I definitely plan on getting it eventually when I need to.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I'm going to fucking stay up till 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
jerk off on the odd hours and just not sleep.
It doesn't make you do anything. That's that. Yeah. It doesn't make, and even roid rage, like, it only brings out what's already there and makes it
Wait,
worse.
you didn't play with your penis more when you were on TRT?
Me? No. I had
My
a high
friend,
sex.
I have a friend who's on TRT.
I've heard
right
of
now,
this,
and
though.
he says
Yeah.
he can't unglue his
Yeah.
hand to his dick.
So I kind of get that. I might have gone through a few phases where I felt that way, but I think that I already had a high sex drive before. My big thing was like brain fog and just totally zapped of energy at all times, and that's what I'd help. So even if I seemed like chatty when I was talking to you, I was tired all the time. So not you, but anyone.
Oh, I know that Josh was a SEAL, and maybe it's just his natural state of being to just come on, swear, but he seems a little on edge. And is it because he's lying?
But your problem is you have a small mindset,
Oh, now he's going to the mindset. You have no idea how hard I work to get this body. It's your small mindset.
and you think that anybody who is strong or fit has to be on steroids.
Now, the beauty of this is I know he's not talking about me. I know that there are plenty of people out there that are way bigger and way stronger than I could ever be, even if I used every steroid under the sun. Remember, I'm only using 100 milligrams of testosterone a week, which is basically nothing. And if I were using 10,000,
I will say, I don't know how, I think he's been doing that for a while. So I went down to 100 milligrams. The highest I was on was 200 milligrams. I settled in at like 140 to 160 was where it felt like healthy. My blood pressure was good and I had more energy. When I did 100, I went down to 100 right before I stopped. So I stopped at the beginning of the year, but right before that, I went down to 100. I felt like trash, dude. Like, I already felt like trash. I guess he feels better. I don't know. I feel like the difference between 100 and 200, which was what he was on, is like night and day, having done both those doses. I'm kind of curious. I don't know if he's done a follow-up on that. I'd like to hear what he says.
1,000 milligrams of testosterone a week, I'm not all of a sudden going to turn into Mitchell freaking Hooper.
So it's pretty weak to have that mindset.
What is it with people and just going directly to mindset? Like, what's the factual-based thing behind clamoring on about somebody's state of being? To be honest, you're on the sporty bet side of the spectrum. Like mental health, and you're doing the same thing, but it's on the other side. It makes it seem just as ridiculous.
And I hate when I hear young guys who are still in their late 20s, early 30s who are like, I've tried everything.
What he's saying is true about a lot of people, and a lot of people certainly don't try everything. A lot of people think they try everything because they did something for, 3 to 4 weeks, maybe a couple of months, and like, damn, this stuff isn't working, I gotta take steroids. I'm 33.
100%. I'm glad you said that, Philip. Sorry, this is a topic I'm passionate about. I mentioned sleep and some other things. The biggest noticeable thing wasn't some crazy gains. Yes, I had gains. It pushed me past my threshold, but I'll get up to a 500 deadlift without TRT. TRT took me to a 550 deadlift. 100% recovery from training. I can't do what I used to do. You still had to do the training, but I feel wrecked afterwards compared to what I felt like. I wish I had one. I would love to have you on the call-in number. Maybe we'll get one.
Just call Grant's cell phone and just put it to the microphone.
I don't know how to do that. Should I try?
What do you mean you don't know how to do that? You just give
What
him
do I
your
do?
phone number and just go like this. Savon does it all
Philip,
the time when his fucking roadcaster breaks.
Philip, do you want to?
You know while you do that, I gotta go get my phone charger.
Okay, Philip, you can call in. Okay, good. I don't want you to call in anyway. I'm gonna have Chris Ibarra call in. He just texted me after ignoring me for like a year. He said, "Oh, dude, sorry, I didn't have your number stored." Name dropping. I was telling him to make sure that if he won at Crucible a few weeks ago, that he did something like stare down Taylor or whatnot. I like Taylor, but it's good entertainment. Owen is about to die. He's not calling. He's just full of crap.
Nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. So here's the thing. I didn't feel like Superman. Like, I still didn't want to work out sometime. I still like felt tired. I still felt wrecked after the WOD. It's more like the next day or like the rest of the day, I am just more wrecked than I was. There's days where the next day I can't go all out in the WOD. On TRT, I could do an all out, like it's the CrossFit Open for me. That's the big time. I could do an all out WOD 6 days a week and take one day off. On TRT, I can't do balls to the wall every single day. So it's subtle, but 100% recovery, biggest thing. I don't always want to work out, but recovery is awesome. Philip, are you telling us you're on TRT? I don't know if you've ever said that. Maybe. I feel like you are. That's cool.
This cord's not working.
Okay, you do your thing. Philip, do you want to talk to us? Hold on, hang on. No, it's you guys know about my we lost 3 viewers when we were both gone. I left too because I had to get it. Can you hear me?
Yep, this is the most professional podcast on earth.
I know. No, I left also. So we were both my vibrating leg thing went off, so I went to get a new one and we lost. Yeah, we lost 3 viewers during that time. No, the back of my legs is the absolute worst, dude. I get this. I have a constant rolling twitch in the back of my right hamstring from the stupid neurological condition I have. And I can't sit in a chair without it being uncomfortable unless I sit at the very edge of my butt. Yeah, Philip, you don't know about that? I'll tell you about it some other time. I twitch all over and it's very uncomfortable, but hey, at least I'm not dying. Okay, let's do this. No, it's not that, Jan. I have it's called benign fasciculation syndrome, or yeah, pretty much, Philip. Or small fiber neuropathy, but I have literal muscle twitches all over my body at all times.
I heard that's triggered by having like anal fissures. Is that true?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
You mean from like getting rammed?
No, hemorrhoids
So,
from fucking sitting on the toilet too long.
A lot of people think it's from the vax, some sort of anti-immune thing. Most
Did
people
you get vaxxed?
I got half vaxxed.
Damn.
And you know what? It was my love of CrossFit. I was going past a Walgreens on a whim. This is how I am. On a whim, I saw like Walgreens. It was like vaccinated right away. And I'm like, man, I just started CrossFit and I feel like I'm really into it. But if I get COVID, I won't be able to go to CrossFit. I'm just going to pull in. And they're like, yeah,
Dang, that's how they got you. One of those CVS places actually got you. Holy
I pulled in.
shit.
I said, if there's no wait, I'm going to do it because I don't want to miss CrossFit. And I saw something saying, oh, you'll get less sick. And I'm like, I want to be less sick. And I did it, and I regret
imagine blaming CrossFit as your reason for getting vaxxed.
I know, right? Horrible. Yeah, I'm suing.
That's funny.
Man. Yeah, no, I wish I hadn't. All right, let's do this.
3 years old. When I made my choice, I was done trying to compete in the CrossFit world. I knew the second that I uttered those words onto this camera about what I was doing with the Hormone Clinic California Hormones, and I'm just like, well, that's it. Oh, well, let's see what happens from here. But I hear what Josh is saying. There are people out there like, well, I'll never be able to compete with Patrick Vellner. I got to start shooting. You're wrong. He's just better.
I just tried everything. I had to get on TRT. It's like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You didn't. And a lot of the stuff that he said is correct.
You didn't try everything. Because I've never been on it. I'm just fine.
I was very skeptical of Josh Bridges, especially about, 2.5 or 3 years ago. He was posting all these pictures and he was sitting on a weight plate. And I remember this, he was just fluffy. And all of a sudden, he got really jacked. Arguably more jacked than he was when he was competing in CrossFit. But as many of you guys know, the physique that you attain in CrossFit isn't usually the peak jack that you could get as a human. That's what bodybuilding is for. That's for being peak jacked. Now, CrossFitters are jacked, but there is a difference between being as jacked as possible and trying to be as fit as possible. Josh looks better now, I think, than he did when he was in his best fitness shape.
All right, here's the interesting thing about that. You look at him and you say, there's no way, Grant, that he lost weight. Here's the thing. I looked bigger at 180 than I did at 198. I stayed at 198 for a long time. The reason I looked bigger is because you could see all my muscles. Now, maybe he didn't lose weight, and I believe him. He sounds very convincing, and he's very passionate about it. So I do believe he's not on TRT. But I will say that, like, you can't just be a high-level athlete. He's still, even if he's doing CrossFit, he's lifting heavy weight. You're doing all those things. You don't just add, for instance, 10 pounds of muscle and then have more visible abs. You just don't do that. And that's the whole argument with Tia that Andrew made, I think, at least similar to that. So I wouldn't be surprised. He doesn't look like he lost weight. He is way more jacked, though. Did you see those freaking pictures, dude?
Well, like, here's the thing. Like,
yeah.
Does he train competitively anymore? No. So he's not going to have as much inflammation and stress on the body as he normally would when he was competing. And to a degree, as much as like people call out Brian Johnson, Liver King, for just being bullshit and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's, to what he says, is there's still some degree of truth. It's just fucking masked behind his lies of fucking using steroids and stuff.
That's a great point.
If you do adopt a more ancestral diet, as like steak, eggs, whole foods, cutting the fucking bread out, cutting, grains and rice out, and having fruit, honey,
not much,
just like all that shit, you are going to see some positive changes. And
100%.
that's all Josh does now, is he just has a fucking animal-based diet.
Yeah. The first maybe 9 months I was on TRT, this is when I was like fat. I was on TRT and I can't remember. I think I was 208 pounds when I got on TRT and 250 at the end. Now I had started lifting heavy in my garage. So I had got stronger and there was muscle underneath there, but I was fat and I wheezed walking upstairs. It was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I lost the weight, it was kind of clear the effect it had, because before I had got fat, I had always worked out a lot, and I had seen sort of, I wouldn't quite say my like natural like peak. I never trained like that, but I did an hour in the gym a day, 5 or 6 days a week. It was just very obvious. Let me put it this way. If I was over 170 pounds, there was going to start being an accumulation of fat. I wasn't going to have abs anymore. This was, back 2016 or whatnot. Whereas on TRT, I could be at 185 and still have abs, which is a significant difference. I'm talking about 12 to 15 pounds of lean muscle where my abs are just as visible as they were at 170 before. I feel that. I was 245. I'm going to pull this up before I started working out. Now I'm down to 190, but we're completely different. Yeah. 100%. Have you ever done a bod pod or DEXA scan at all, Pull Boy?
Mm-hmm. I've done like body scans and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it's better to hold a little bit higher body fat percentage.
I mean, for what we do, 100%.
Yeah. Like, do you have any idea what the games athletes sit at roughly?
I mean, ideally, they probably want to be sitting somewhere around like 13%.
Yeah. Vellner posted 12 point something the other day, which seems about right. I don't know what you're talking about, but when I got my most jacked, I was not on a cycle. I was on a lower dose of TRT. Ironically, when I was 200 pounds years ago, I mean, not less than 5 years ago, I had a doctor who prescribed me Anavar and prescribed me Winstrol. So basically I did do a cycle. That's even awesome. Though it was legal. Yeah. And, yeah, it didn't really do much because those are leaning out steroids, at least visibly. So maybe I got stronger. But I had too much fat for it to be noticeable. I think my lifts did go up and then they just went right back down. All right.
But he also looked like a rolling pile of garbage about 3 years ago. If I had to bet my life on it, I would bet that Josh is natural right now.
It's just sad. It's sad where I feel like our country has been, where our country's gone with our youth and our men, especially.
I think he needs to open up a little bit more about that, because I know that my state of mind changed when I started using testosterone just a little bit more assertive, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more calm, which is weird. People wouldn't think.
I didn't notice a ton of that. I didn't notice the aggression. I did notice the aggression when I got prescribed that. The Winstrol. Yes, agreed. So that's the thing. I think that's what I would not do that again if I could go back. I kind of went through an experimental phase where anything that I could do that was legal, yeah, 100% Preverin. Primo, yeah, same thing, Masteron, Primo. And if you're on TRT, you don't really suffer the effects. You can take these other drugs and your T doesn't crash afterwards because you're on TRT. You have that as a baseline. So once you get on TRT, it's almost like it can be what's that called? A gateway, right? Because you can do all these other things without suffering the effects. Yeah, I never noticed that except for when they added the Jan would know. I can't remember. I used to know all this stuff. The DHT based, I think the DHT based stuff. Like I think Winstraw is DHT based.
The thing that's responsible for men's hair loss, DHT.
Yes. Yeah. So all the
So whenever you get on like hair loss medication, your fucking dick goes limp.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So I think Primo, Masteron, Winstraw, I think Anavar, maybe all those ones have the potential to cause aggression. I do remember that feeling, but I did not feel that on TRT. However, there's a study that people who got on TRT became more conservative, which makes sense. If you're a conspiracy theorist, then you can go very far with the theory as to why testosterone.
Dihydrotestosterone, a hormone that plays a key role in development of sexual development and other bodily functions.
Yeah, honestly, the funny thing, like Anavar is so mild, so tame compared to everything else. Like I did 50 milligrams, Jan. So that was my first dose.
Holy shit, DHT promotes prostate growth in men. God, I want some extra DHT.
Everybody says their joints hurt on Winstraw, dude. I went like 75 milligrams the first time doing Winstraw, and I was
Dude, fine. I want my prostate to get so big that whenever I echo bike, I just orgasm all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing or not. Primo will crack. Yeah, true. Some people use it as a similar to
what's E2?
It's your estrogen. So when you get on TRT, if your testosterone goes up, your estrogen can go up too much.
All right, sorry, I didn't think my girlfriend.
I just you guys will definitely distract me with steroids though. So keep talking about it.
That I was more calm, didn't get sleep quite as much. All of those things said, if you were going to fight an evil, the evil would be not the testosterone users, but perhaps even those who are demonizing testosterone.
And they're just finding out so much more information about like getting rid of plastic. Stop drinking out of fucking plastic water bottles.
What? Like these? No, I think he means like the Ice Mountain water bottles.
Stop drinking coffee out of hot plastic or paper cups that are filled with plastic on the inside of them.
This is a hot button on the internet right now. Microplastics. It's like I am a freaking human god because of the microplastics, the way that my parents never were. They didn't have those in the 70s and we're better for it. It's kind of a running joke. But in the world of are you drinking, are you eating sugar, how much sugar are you eating, how many hours of sleep are you getting, I think microplastics is way down on the list. That's my personal opinion.
Stop drinking alcohol. Chill on the alcohol, right? Does it make you feel that good, really?
All right, good. I'm glad you brought the alcohol again. Chill on the alcohol.
It's really sad. And then having the mindset where anybody who is strong or fit or in shape at an older age of 40, it's like, you have to, you're definitely on TRT. Definitely have to be. It's like, no, you don't.
There are people out there who say that TRT is the best thing since sliced bread, and he's over here saying, no, it's not. Eat a steak. Y'all are just as extreme. I'm not telling anyone to be a fence sitter, but it's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't even hear what you said, Pool Boy. I think it's so funny that everybody's saying it was like terrible. I was just like, yeah. Does that even? I wasn't paying attention.
I was talking about my prostate being so big that when I hop on an echo bike, I orgasm all the time.
Dude, the Lord is here. The Lord. Okay, so
it's interesting he brings up the microplastic thing because I'm kind of like
I don't even know about that, dude.
I'm on the same level as Josh. I'll be honest. I'm very like OCD when it comes to plastic stuff.
So what the freak do I do? So I can't do these. You have to. Where do you get your water from? You put it in
I'll try to avoid drinking out of water bottles as much as I can because it's like, for example, that bottle you're drinking out of right now, like you don't know how long it was sitting.
I drink 10 bottles of these a day, dude.
And you don't know the temperatures that truck's been through and the heating of that plastic. Like whenever I see friends microwaving plastic, it just gives me the.
So do you have a filter? Do you have a filter you use for your water?
Well, yeah, most of the time. But like, since I'm rarely ever home, so like I have a flow water machine at my gym, so I get all my water from there.
Yep, there you go.
And stuff. But like, if you ever want to get your mind blown, I'll look it up. I don't remember the name of the doctor, but a while ago there was a doctor who talked about how the human species is actually by definition endangered. and she was on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about it. And it all has to do with something called phthalates or something like that.
Yeah.
That has to do with microplastics. And like you're able to measure levels of plastic in human DNA purely based on things like bagging your vegetables and fruits in those plastic bags. They can measure plastic leaking into your fruit like that.
That is freaky, dude.
Babies that are in the NICU, they can measure levels of plastic in their urine because of just the plastic tubes that they're all like tied up to and stuff. And it actually goes all the way to the fact that you can actually measure how girthy a man's penis is and how fertile a man is based on the length of his gooch. So the distance between his balls and his asshole.
Really?
That has a correlation in terms of longevity, fertility, penile girth.
But how did that?
It has to do with microplastics.
Oh,
like the
you're
more
saying as a baby?
Yes, the more microplastics that are in your DNA, like over time, that shit just kills you. And more each year, the average age of couples seeking fertility health is declining each year. Like it gets younger and younger, and it has to do with it has all to do with microplastics.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy. I'll try to find that podcast and send it to you.
Yeah,
It'll fucking
definitely.
blow your mind.
I'd love to watch that. It just sucks because there's so many things out there that are screwing us up, you know? And so I think that when you get overwhelmed, you focus on one and then you hit the next thing. And I think the number one thing you focus on first is like you get a routine as far as moving, right? As far as working out and as far as diet, getting your protein and not eating 6,000 calories. And I'm serious about that. Yeah, I joke around about eating sugar and stuff, but I actually don't eat as bad as I joke about. I just tell people when I am eating really bad.
So I was laughing because I saw Jesus' comment. Just
blood. Yeah. So here's the thing. We get that down and then you start looking at the other things too. If you try to look at everything at once, you can get overwhelmed, but that is fascinating. And I definitely want to see that episode.
Worked with at minimum 20 people who have gotten on testosterone to change their freaking life in a way that they probably didn't even know was possible. And then to be entirely fair, there's probably about 40 or 50 people out there who have started using performance-enhancing drugs that didn't freaking need to. So he's got a point as well. But Josh just seems like he's got to get out a little bit more.
You can actually put in a lot of work and be dedicated to your health and to your fitness. I'm the kind of person who I just love coming out and pushing my body and training, and I love trying to figure out ways to stay healthier, stay stronger, stay fitter without going down that route.
And if you aren't that type of person, because there aren't those types of people every corner you're going to turn, what are they supposed to do? Force themselves to eat a steak every freaking day? Force themselves to do all of the things that you said because you said it's the way you get more testosterone? While you're right, those things are better. What if they're 45 or 50 years old and they're staring down the barrel of a freaking miserable life where they're never going to get a boner again? Like, what are you going to tell them? Don't do it. You can do it too. I'm a SEAL. I can do it, so you.
His arguments, everybody loves Josh Bridges, it seems like. His arguments sometimes are so like elementary, just generalized arguments, the way he talks about things like you could do it too, because it's anecdotal. It works for you. That's great.
Well, he's a SEAL. Like that's how SEALs
you're
are,
right.
Like
Agreed.
that's how David Goggins is, right? You can't run fucking 6 miles. Why not?
Yeah.
Fucking go do it. You can't get up at 2 a.m. and fucking stick a needle up your ass and run 12 miles. Why not?
Your knees all jacked up. What does it matter? My knee's jacked too. You don't need an ACL. Yeah,
Get
right.
hard.
So Jan, I agree and I disagree. If you look at his body, it 100% looks like the classic TRT transformation. And I said that he sounds believable. Dude, if he is on TRT, then he's a douchebag because he's so full of crap. Like his persona is built on being this SEAL who's authentic and like just hits you with straight talk or whatever. So if he is on TRT, screw him, dude. And I mean that. Like, I'll accept anybody's apology, coming out clean, admitting it. If he is, screw you, Josh Bridges. He does look like he is. I'm choosing to believe him. But I will say that he looks bigger. I'm sticking with he might actually weigh less. I'd really like to know what he weighed when he was competing versus now, because I know myself and a few other people who have looked legitimately bigger, even though we had lost weight. But I see what you're saying, Jan.
You can do it. Seems kind of ridiculous if you ask me. A couple $100 a month, and it's going to change your freaking life. Or you can jump into a cold tub.
Because I know once you're on it, you don't have to stay on it forever, but you're probably going to. So
yeah, probably going to. And that's why I'm playing around at 100 milligrams. I want to see what would happen if I brought it as low as freaking possible. Maybe I can go even lower. What does it do to my state of mind? What does it do to my body and my physique?
Your body produces, I think it's 50 milligrams a day of testosterone. So pool boy, it's like if you're at a normal, I think, amount, it's like you are injecting 50 milligrams of testosterone a day. Now there might be outliers, people who make more. I think it's 50 to 60. So when you go down to like 80 milligrams, you're starting to get close to your natural production levels. I'm surprised he even does 100, but he is smart for going down to the lowest dose that keeps him optimized and with a good hormone level. It's dangerous to, I mean, there are some studies that show that it could be dangerous to have the higher TRT levels because of the way that it thickens your blood, and over time that can be a risk. Go to the comments of that video. Some dude that, yeah, I did see that. I didn't read the whole thing, but I saw somebody who owns a TRT clinic. He looks like it, but I don't know. I mean, there's still the, yeah, I do too.
I trust Hiller's judgment, and Hiller
Yeah.
says he doesn't think he's on it.
Yeah, there's still the 1% too that like we say this person's got to be on. There's always 1% that the exception, right? And he's a high level athlete. He is the 1%. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was able to achieve a great physique after competition.
I don't know. Do I look like Josh Bridges? I'm like 4 inches taller than him. My muscle insertions are quite the same as him. Maybe it's just difference between Josh and myself. I don't see what's wrong with having a better quality of life for the rest of your life, and you don't got to dump money on a freaking $10,000 cold plunge hot tub sauna setup. While I do see the benefits of eating more meat, sleeping more, and getting more sun, it can be all of it.
yeah, I've never taken any sort of steroid, 100% natural. So
It does say steroid, which leaves peptides open, and I actually believe this dude. I say actually like there was some sort of a question about it. It's like, no, he's probably, I said on like the 10% side of it where it's like, if I heard it, and kind of like hit me in the butt with an oar, Shane oar, you know, like one of those big ones. Andrew, you were wrong. It's like, you told us Josh Bridges was natural. It's like, yeah, he's 5'5". If he puts on 1 pound of muscle, it's like putting on 10 for the 5'10" guy. Do you hear the way he's talking about this stuff? He's a nuthead. He cares more than anybody else about his fitness. He's a genetic freak. He's been to the CrossFit Games. Of course he's going to look like this. Look at his freaking garage.
it is what it is, you know, but people will always claim to be, and that's okay. That means I'm doing something right, that they think that they be this fit, I have to be on something. And I have always taken it as a compliment. So I appreciate your kind words.
It is about time that I hear that from somebody else. Being accused of using performance-enhancing drugs when you do not use performance-enhancing drugs is the ultimate compliment. Now, he seemed a little bit pissed off when he was saying that. I don't know if he himself really believes that quite yet, but I at least like that the words were said.
My favorite thing is
It's funny, when I was on the lower dose of TRT that I'd settled in on, and I was in my best, at least appearance wise, my best shape, my most aesthetic. Like when we were on a trip in Mexico for work, everybody was saying, talking about steroids, like, how many steroids are you taking? And I took that as a compliment. I'm just like, dude, I'm actually on the lowest dose I've been on, and I'm not taking anything extra. And I said I have in the past, always prescribed, but I have taken it in the past. That felt great to me. So I can only imagine, dude, if somebody's natural, it might piss you off. But if you are natural and somebody says you're on steroids, it's like, dude, I must be freaking jacked for them to think I'm on steroids. Has anybody ever said that about you?
Oh yeah, I've been accused of steroids all the time, and I'm just like, dude, you don't know anything about steroids. I would be so much bigger if I was on steroids.
Yeah, and exactly. Anybody, but I see where they get it from. Like anybody who's that like 98% and higher for CrossFit, they're jacked, dude, mostly. Except for that one, who's that huge guy who is at the games, who you see the memes of it every once in a while. I think he was a teams athlete. He looked like he's like 250 pounds. He's just running and like jiggling somebody in the.
I know Dan Bailey was always the big one that people accused of. I'm pretty sure it was Dan.
Oh
Bailey.
Yeah,
and Dan Bailey always would say like, "Hey, pay for the test and I'll take it.
Yeah,
if I fail, I'll reimburse you and blah blah blah."
Yeah, that guy, whoever he is, But yeah, Dan Bailey did.
Oh, are we talking about the fat teams athlete?
Yeah, is that
like
him?
Super fat. He was like super fat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Jack Douglas.
Former
Jake Douglas.
Former misfit guy. Fuck, what's his name?
He's in a bunch of memes and stuff. Oh no, Jake Douglas. That's the guy. Okay. So Hiller's done him before, right? I think I remember. Jake Douglas is like freaking Bane times 50. Did he get popped ever? Internet personality, athlete. Oh my gosh, he's still competing, so he's not popped. That freaking guy, dude.
I'm thinking of Travis Williams. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's who I'm thinking of too. But dude, freaking Jake Douglas, you've seen this guy. I gotta show you.
Like Travis Williams, this dude, fat, just super fat.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, one look at Jake Douglas, absolutely impossible. It's not even like Ronnie Coleman, I think, was natural for the first year or something like that. He said like his first Olympia, he took second. But this is just not even right. I'm gonna pull it up. Here we go. Let me go back to the picture. This freaking guy.
Oh yeah, Jake Douglas.
What the freak, dude? That is like,
he's an Aussie, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go 99 percentile to give myself a cover, but that's like the most typical trap daddy, more like trend daddy. All right, let's do this. Where's Hiller?
I said,
oh well,
drug testing. Let's just do lie detector test. Let's take a lie detector test. I'm in. I'll do it. And I've been saying that for years.
I actually made a video on that, and I didn't get the idea from Josh Bridges. This is a freaking phenomenal idea. Imagine what happens if the athlete's just leaving the stadium because there's a lie detector on the line. Oh, I got all my hormones in check. I got everything cleared out of my system, and they're like, all right, we're gonna just do the freaking meet the parents lie detector test.
I have nipples, Greg.
And then they're like, oh my god,
Could you milk me?
and then they run out the door.
I have nipples. Can you milk me?
There's too many easy ways to probably cheat a drug test. Let's put them on a lie detector test and see who is clean and who isn't clean.
I love it, but the problem is you can cheat a lie detector test, and also they're unreliable. I love the idea. I would absolutely, and I would still say let's do it just for entertainment.
What's that? You ever watch Seinfeld?
Yes, I love Seinfeld.
Remember that episode where I think Jerry is lying to his girlfriend about watching, I think, Dawson's Creek or something, some like girl show.
I don't remember, and I feel like
and she's a police officer, and she's like, she doesn't believe him, so she wants to put him on a lie detector test. But George, being like the ultimate liar and being really good at it, is like trying to like teach him how to like beat the system, and he's like, Jerry, it's not a lie if you believe in it, or something like that.
Oh,
like,
I remember that.
Believe it's true, or something like that.
I gotta go watch that now.
It's so funny.
Let's see, Seinfeld. Yeah, that's hilarious. I'm gonna watch that. All right.
The best way to cheat a drug test is to be using a drug that is undetectable. Plain and simple. The more money you have, the more likely you have access to pharmacists who have the ability to create new drugs that nobody even know are in your body at the time. You could be gassed out of your mind competing at a sporting event, and nobody would be the wiser.
There's got to be something going on because Trap Daddy here, Jake Douglas, and then Pinheiro, right? The Brazil girl. Like, I'm mad because she took third, and in my mind, she took Jamie's spot.
But she sucks.
Yeah.
Dude, she sucks. If you take her score just like and compare it with like where she would have placed in other semis.
Yeah.
Dude,
agreed.
Garbage.
And the thing is, like, she 100% is on steroids. So how are they passing? How is the guy that Hiller brought up from the Masters, the 40-year-old dude? I'm fine with that. That counts as a.
Anyone else watching on mute? I'm hiding.
I'm guys. I'm in my car right now. And have you all ever had somebody cut you off and then just every single video that I make? Shut up! No, I'm just kidding. You're welcome here. We're not going to be like Savon and Taylor.
Dude, Bryson was so mean to Heidi. Oh my god.
Was he?
That was, well, I mean, what he said was mean. I don't know if Bryson. What is Bryson and Heidi? Heidi, what is your guys' beef with each other? Like, do you guys actually not like each other? I'm interested.
I didn't know if they were serious or not.
I couldn't tell if you were serious or not either.
I'm not.
I like Heidi. I think Heidi's low key the funniest girl who ever.
I think she's awesome. No, I love Heidi. I'll never admit to saying that. No, that's not true. I'm getting, my wife is I keep pushing the, hey, healthy dinners, right? Because I can eat breakfast every day, eggs, yogurt, lunch. I cover all that. Dinner, and then past dinner is where it starts to get sketchy. So my wife's doing pork chops tonight and potatoes and steak tomorrow. So we're good.
Yummy.
So Josh is right.
And I have 100% no issues doing that. That's something that I've said to, I think it was Justin Berger and Castro, both. I've said to both of them, like,
oh well,
test. Let's do lie detector tests.
I think you should do both. And the thing about doing both is, at the moment, I currently would pass a drug test. Scot-free. That's the thing about using a really low dose.
Oh, I see what he's gonna say. Okay, so you wouldn't pass the drug test where they test for exogenous testosterone. I think at the Olympics, I'm pretty sure they just test for exogenous. I'll let him say it.
Of testosterone. I've made videos on this as well, but the 10,000 foot overview of it is you have testosterone in your body, whether or not you're a man or a freaking woman, and I currently am using 100 milligrams of testosterone a week. To your run-of-the-mill CrossFit sanctioned drug test from, not from WADA, but they're using a drug-free sport. But regardless of who you are using, they're going to give you a panel that is well aware that we all have testosterone in our bodies. Now, mine is exogenous, but that test does not know that. Not that test, not the test that everybody gets, not your $200 test that they're going to give to all of the athletes that take it. All that test can do is tell you if you have too much testosterone in your body. See what I'm saying here? And because I'm taking 100 milligrams of testosterone a week, it's not going to know that I'm using
Okay, so that's interesting. Who they're using, they can't afford to do like the crazy testing. Then, I would have passed too, because the funny thing is my testosterone levels, the last time I got it checked on 140 milligrams, I was only up from 200 to 550. I would test between 550 and 700. So I could be on TRT if I was a high level athlete, which I never will be, and pass a drug test. And then they'll test for exogenous after that. That is exactly why people are passing then. That Masters athlete that he did. All he probably did is he probably went down to 100 milligrams, so he didn't feel like trash the month before, takes a drug test, shows up at 700, and they don't test anything else. And he could have done everything else before that performance-wise to get himself bigger, and he's going to keep the muscle in time for the CrossFit Games. I did not realize that. Yep, so I've been wondering this whole time, how are they passing these, which is an IQ test? How are they passing these? Yes, this is true. So my big thing was always, I eat clean all day. I always have. If I fail, it's at night past 8 o'clock. It is true that I have a fridge and cabinet lock and time release safe that I put the key in, and I had stopped using it for a year. And now that I'm 187 pounds, which is up 7 pounds, I am going to start using it again.
Do you think they use do you think they use affiliate money for these drug tests?
I don't know.
Where are they getting the money from besides the affiliates?
I mean, it has to be affiliate money, yeah, right?
I'm okay with the cheap drug test then.
Yeah. Yeah, see, we can't have it both ways, right? Like they can't afford to.
Dude, I don't care enough about the sport
Sucks.
in terms of and I love the sport, but I don't care that much where you fucking waste the affiliates' monies to
what I wish?
These guys.
You know what I do wish? I just wish somebody had the common sense to just say, we're just going to be biased like Masters do that Hiller, or we're just going to listen to Hiller. The people that come up like Pinheiro, you're getting the WADA test. And you're getting
hire Hiller as a consultant.
Yeah.
And be like,
that'd
hey,
be awesome.
point out who we should have the expensive drug test
But
on.
think about it. I know this is crazy, but just think about it. If they actually had that, I'm going to have to clip this, but if they actually had Hiller as a consultant and every year you knew he was going to point out only 10 people, you would probably eliminate 50% of the doping that goes on. People would be terrified if you knew you were going to get random WADA testing based on Hiller simply pointing you out.
It's true, dude. People are too afraid to be fucking pointed out for their squat depth, let alone.
Dude, that's what I said. Like literally, even before I was not that I'm in the spotlight, but before I put myself out there at all, before Keeping It Real existed, I had Hiller in my mind during the open because I would see his videos. He would pop into my head if I thought I wasn't getting low enough.
Yeah. But also, dude, people are so stupid for uploading their videos on YouTube. Like,
yeah,
you're an idiot. I never upload my videos on YouTube.
Yeah, you're just asking.
I use Google Drive.
There you go. I love it.
Exogenous testosterone. It gets a little bit fuzzy once you're about the 200 milligram threshold, and then it just gets downright stupid once you have like 300 milligrams. You're going to test positive for using testosterone at that point. But the reason you're going to test positive is because that first $200 test that they're going to give you.
So for the record, I would at 200 milligrams, I would not have got retested because at 200 milligrams, which is where I first started, the highest I ever got, I think, was 790 total T. I'm not like a good responder numbers wise. So what he's saying is fascinating to me. You can be on TRT and they're not going to know, which means you can do all sorts of other steroids before that and just go back down to a TRT dose right before the games. This answers a question I've been wondering for so long. Gosh, that kind of pisses me off too.
that's going to raise a red flag. Like, hey, that's a lot of testosterone. You should probably see if that's exogenous. Then they run you on another, more expensive test that they don't want to run you on. They're not just going to run every single athlete because that would just cost them a bunch of money. And nobody wants to spend money for no reason. Let's just say that there's 6 semifinals and they're testing, I don't know, 20 people out of each of them. That's 120 people. And they're already spending $200 to see if they're on just your whatever street drugs. And then they can raise a red flag and maybe test 5 of them. Oh, these people have a lot of testosterone. Now we're going to run the $1,000 test. We're going to spend $5,000 instead of $120,000 on them. And in that test, they can differentiate whether or not it is exogenous, came from a freaking potato or a plant or a yam source, or it was made by you, the human. Now, Josh, you could also just do that with a freaking lie detector test. You're correct.
And to be honest, in my opinion, I think most CrossFit Games athletes are clean.
Most means more than half, and I can agree with that for sure.
I'm not going to be naive and think they're all clean, but I think most of them are.
I made that massive video on the CrossFit Games Natty or Not where I think it was you guys who basically said that it was Adriana Pinheiro and Tia Toomey who were the most likely women to be using performance-enhancing drugs. That's got my stamp of approval on it. Josh Bridges, natural, Hiller stamp of approval on it. I believe what he's saying here. I know that a lot of you guys are probably pissed off because they're like, oh, is this TRT protocol? How much is he using? And I know that I didn't necessarily deliver on that, but he started it. Josh Bridges, you started it. You pissed everybody off. But if you didn't already know that bit about how people might be using testosterone and getting around the drug testing system, at least I tried to give you that. Whose movements do you think are better for life? Josh's movements for life or Hiller's movements for life? I think that he missed out on running. How can you be a human being and not run, Josh? You tell me that much. Final thought, I think that it's fantastic that Josh Bridges has a YouTube channel. I think that anybody who has done CrossFit, continues to do their fitness and does not have a YouTube channel or is in the early stages of their CrossFit career, doesn't have a YouTube channel, is a freaking idiot. You need somebody with one of these following you around, just spewing your mind, having them cut it up and throw it up on the internet for people who might want to watch it. Just freaking do it. Nice use of clickbait, Josh. You made me watch. You made more videos because of it. Thank you very much. Andrew Hiller out.
He skipped the credits. I don't know why.
Busted.
I want to do, this makes me, all this talk in the chat makes me want to do a steroid episode. If Hiller ever comes on, I might just want to do steroids with Hiller or something like that and have all you people in the chat. Yeah, I just want to talk. And then and if you ever go on TRT when you're like 40 or whatever, done competing, you got to you should like document it. I want to see what happens if you ever go on. All right, guys. Well, we got the barbell spin coming up. Go check that out. I know you guys all want to go watch that. And I think Savon is, did you see that? Savon's on tonight too.
Is he? Are they going to do the North America update? Is that what that is?
No, it's like, maybe I'm wrong, but I saw like James Kelly from High Rocks or something.
Yeah. Boring.
Which is the same guy Hiller was arguing with and live streamed with, and then was arguing with on his High Rocks post the other day. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm pretty pissed because my Sporty Beth baby, my fake baby that came in the mail with all my other stuff, my meth pipe and my my Norwal and my wig and everything else that I got. The baby, it came and it was like that big. So I had to reorder a new baby.
That's funny.
And I was like, I was ready to go too, dude. Like I had it in my head. I was ready to do this parody. And I had to order a bigger baby, so I can't do it until Friday at least. What do they say?
Groovy.
I don't know. Anyway, cool. Hey, thanks, Pool Boy. I know you got things to do. Always appreciate you. Thanks, guys. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.